Hello, and welcome back to Orient Express. We're making another chili con carne, but this time with a twist. So what I have here is a beef brisket. This actually costs the same amount of money as the beef shin did from the butcher's, but we got this from the grocery store. And what we're going to do is we're going to scorch this meat because we got some Magi spicy Mexican mix, and we've got some Tamex spicy chili salsa that my wife got from the Arab shop. So we're going to rub the Magi on one side of this brisket, and we're going to rub the Tamex salsa on the other side of the brisket. But before we do that, we're going to see this meat. So let me just scorch it first. And the reason we're scorching the meat while it's raw is we're creating some gaps to put that mix into the actual brisket. So I'll do the other side too. Just scorch it to the best of my ability. I have what we can. So I am right-handed, unfortunately. So now what we're going to do, before we put this meat into the casserole dish that you guys saw last time, we've got some extra virgin olive oil. So we're going to wait for that to get hot before we put the oil in. While that's happening, a clove of garlic. We've got some space on this board. I'm just going to turn it around. There won't be any contamination yet. The other clove of garlic, I'm just going to crush it on the flat side of this plate. So take it from the base of the knife, put it down, good. There you go. So we've got one that's been sliced for this and one that's been crushed. That worked out so well, I'm just going to crush these other ones too. So that casserole dish is actually starting to crackle. So that's all it needs for now. I'm going to quickly crush these last two cloves of garlic, and just for demonstration, I might even just slice up that last one. Yeah, my sister says my knife cutting techniques are not very desirable because she used to work in a professional restaurant. But yeah, I have a bad wrist anyway. So let's just put that garlic in there. Bring the meat back. Gotta get a ladle from this drawer. Maybe drop the heat a little bit on that. Turn on the range as well. Saute that garlic. I might put half the onions in now too. As you can see, some of that garlic is actually browning. So I like to leave that ladle there. Use my clean hand. Get those, half those onions, probably even a third. Put us an onion. And just put that in there as well, help caramelize. And save the other 2/3 of onion for the top of the Try to break down that onion if I can before we put in the meat. so I'm not going to hold it with the other hand. So I'm not going to use gloves at this stage either. So I'm pretty happy with the way that's coming out. I'm just going to let that sort of saute and caramelize. I'm going to put some salt onto that meat first. We have some crushed coriander seed. See, this is perfect timing because that onion needs time to saute and caramelize anyway. And we have some black pepper. So black pepper, crushed coriander seeds, Himalayan salt. I'm going to flip that meat around and do the other side. Start off with the Himalayan salt and finish with the Himalayan salt. Get that onion out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing. Crushed coriander seed. Freshly ground pepper. Alright, grab those tongs, take the board, just to play it safe. And I'm going to put it fat side down first. You don't need to keep it there for long. You basically keep it there to see the meat. So a good 3 minutes of each side will be adequate. And you don't have to do all the edges. It's very difficult with the brisket anyway, but if you can, it's good. You can sort of trap some of that bacteria. I just jacked up the heat to get the searing process done quicker. I have some diced tomatoes, 2 cans of that. We have, I would say, 3 capsicums. That's 2 cans of kidney beans. And we have some fresh chilies, some spicy Indian chilies, and some not so spicy green chilies, cinnamon, and 2 bay leaves. And let's not forget the onion. And I'll show you what the twist is with those other recipes at the end. And that's most definitely been seared. So we're gonna do the other side now for about 4 minutes. And then we'll see if we can actually put the rub in the actual pan without taking the meat out again. Yeah, we might actually take the meat out again. So I'm just going to set it place. So we can put the rub on there for demonstration purposes. So the secret recipe is, well, the secret ingredient is a traditional element of chili con carne. It's coffee. And they use coffee all over the world, or coffee grounds, to marinate and tenderize meat. But what coffee does as well, like a half kettle of freshly brewed coffee, it'll actually bring the heat down if you find the chili to be too intense. Because someone said in the previous video, how do you control the heat? So you can either use lime or lemon juice as a way of controlling the heat, Or you can have half a pot of freshly brewed coffee that you can add to the chili mixture, which not only tenderizes the meat, but also keeps that heat element controllable. So that is one secret ingredient in the recipe. Stay tuned to the end and I'll let you know what the other secret ingredient is. Wow, that is smelling like a steak, even though that's a tough cut of meat. You couldn't eat that like that, being brisket. So what you can do is slow cook it, and then it will be tender enough as a steak. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to slow cook this baby. Probably not. Not much else you can do with it, but I can see. Apart from maybe this tail end. And then take it out. I'm just going to turn that off for now. Move that onion around so it doesn't burn. So let's take the meat. You could probably get away with using the spoon. So let's use a spoon to dab it on there, but then you get like a silicone brush to spread it around evenly. So we've actually got some Dijon that you can put on there if you're basically going to then put it into the slow cooker or a smoker. Because we're putting it into the oven as a stew, probably don't want to do that. So this is the Maggi Mexican spice rub. So let's put that on one side. As you saw in the previous video, we made our own mixture. So let's not do that this time. Let's go with something that's store-bought to use with this sauce brush. I'm just checking the time because we have to slow cook this baby. We got the solar panels. So we got like 4 hours of daylight left, or 4.5 hours of daylight. So I'm just gonna kill as much of that area and then use the tongs to flip it around and do the other side with that other spice rub. You can use the back of the spoon like I am to spread it around if you don't have a brush. But then when you want to put more nitty-gritty, put it into the nooks and cranny of it all, you would want to use the brush. I'm using a silicone brush on this side. A lot of the chefs would prefer this one. They say it's easier to clean. Like Jean-Pierre, whose videos I watch quite a bit. I reckon that's good. So brushes aside, we won't be needing those anymore. Get the tongs out again, put it back in the pan, like so. And a lot of that sauce has actually come off. I'll go back to the brush and use it to put on the meat, so we don't waste anything, because that will be disappointing. All right, we can add all the other elements now. So the oven has to be on economy for 170. That's probably it there. And that'll be there for about 5 to 6 hours. So I might bring that pan back here so we can add all the elements in front of you people. Put in, I would say, capsicum. So I'm just going to put that on top there. When you put the capsicum in, the next thing you should probably add is that 2/3 of the onion that were left on top. I've got some chili. Here's the thing we're going to do now. Before we put the diced tomatoes in, what I want to do is put in one of those secret ingredients for the recipe, which is the traditional one, the coffee. So we don't have freshly brewed coffee. So what I do is I have an espresso machine here. I'll just turn that on. And I've got it set for a double shot, and this is a double shot cup, but you need to be generous when you're putting the chili anyway. So I'm just going to stamp it down and to the left, making sure that everything is compressed correctly. Put it into the percolator. We've got these little espresso cups that are Breville as well, but they didn't come with the machine. We got them separately. So I programmed this in to be very, very generous. So you will not get 2 average shots of espresso. What you will get is 2 generous shots of espresso. Just a waiting game now. I will add 1 shot on top of the meat and everything. And here we have a shot of espresso. It's been programmed. And it has that crema on the top as well that you sort of expect. There you are. There you are. And we're going to put that second shot in there as well. So now that we've done that, there's no turning back. So we have 2 cans of diced tomatoes in a bowl. I won't actually use anything to pour it out. Let's pour it straight onto that pan. And we've got some beans here, but we'll put that half an hour before we take it out at the end. So that way they're a little bit more firm. And here's the chili. Some green chilies and some Indian chilies that we diced up as a garnish on top. And one thing you need to add to this, apart from the bay leaves and the cinnamon stick, is half a glass of water. So we will get half a cup boiling water. So, all you need to do now, add some seasoning. So whatever Himalayan salt we've got remaining, I'm just going to scatter to the wind, the divine wind, as the Japanese would say. I hope it's not too much I might add a little bit more pepper too. And some crushed coriander seeds. And that's pretty much it. Stay tuned for the end where you see the second part of the recipe, which is the other secret ingredient. So I'm just going to put the lid on. The time is 2:20. So this thing will be ready by about 8 o'clock if we're lucky. So I'm going to open up the oven first and then leave it in there for a good 5 hours. And we'll see you when we come back. Okay, it's been 5.5 hours, so I'm going to take the chili out of the oven so we can put some beans on there. But before I do that, let's just fry up the beans. Big frying pan here, and I'm going to put some oil in there, just a dab, not too much. So the only reason we're frying up the beans is so we can change their texture from their very smooth texture, crispy texture, before it goes into the chili. So we canned these about 5 hours ago. Alright, so I'm just going to get a ladle, move these beans around, and Jamie Oliver says you should just basically put them in the frying pan to the point, change the texture before you put it into the chili. So you can hear that. Going to reduce that, and then I'll turn it off eventually. So we're going to take the chili out of the oven and put the beans on there. This chili is probably going to go back into the oven after we put in the beans and the secret ingredient. So I'm going to leave that oven on. I've left that frying pan on. I'm just going to open up the top of this chili, and that's how it's supposed to look. I'm going to now add those fried beans on top of that. Turn off the cooktop. Add that on top of the chili, like so. So I'm going to use this ladle and just mix in that meat into chili and basically put some of those beans underneath it if I can. And tear open that brisket. And use that and put some of the actual stew on top of the meat. And here's the secret ingredient. So we got some dark cooking chocolate. Going to use a grater, and this is the other secret recipe. This is what the British do. The Americans put the coffee in there. And speaking of coffee, my wife wanted me to point out to you guys, if you don't have an entry-level espresso machine like ours, which only costs us, $500, just brew in a pot or kettle of coffee 3 to 4 cups of black coffee. Add to this if you don't have a machine like that, which is a cheap machine that's on the market. Alright, here we go. Putting the chocolate on top of the chili. And put it back in the oven for another half an hour. And then we'll take it out. And everything will be ready to serve. Okay, so it's been another half an hour. Let that chili and bean and chocolate and bean settle in the chili. And now I'm just going to pour some of that into a plate of rice, and it'll be ready to serve. Oh, no, it's not. That there. So it's chili con carne with a twist. Double shot of espresso and garnished with dark cooking chocolate. Bon appetit! See you next time. Please share, like and subscribe, and press that bell notification to get updates. Bye.